The minute they said, "Gentlemen, start your engines," it started
raining. Both the winners really wasn't in the race until the circumstances put them up there, and then they was able to take advantage of that. So we've had wins the same way.
I think we've run some races before when they say maybe we're going to have to cut it off in 10 laps or something. I don't think they ever give us a time.
Back in the mid-'60s, they had a road course at Augusta, Georgia, and they was going to run a 500-mile road course. Once they got started and stuff, it was going to be a 7-8 hour race. So they finally come back and said, okay, at a certain time, they're going to cut the race off. All right, here you are again. You're trying to stay dry.
Yeah, well, but we had some good rain Sunday, Richard, which we really need here in Level Cross.
But
it was nothing compared to what Chicago got. And I guess the last 3 races has been dictated by weather, and 2 of the winners got lucky enough to get into
to win a race too.
To win a race and get into the finals.
Basically, both the winners really wasn't in the race until the circumstances put them up there, and then they was able to take advantage of that. So we've had wins the same way. You know what I mean? Sometimes we've lucked into them, and that's what they kind of done, and we've lucked out of some too.
But NASCAR, but Richard, it was just, we only seen part of it, and it was amazing to see what work was done to put the race on.
Close up that side of town and all that stuff. Yeah.
And I hate it raining. I hate it rain because it would have been a super race because Saturday's race, the Xfinity race.
But even the first segment, they had 5 or 6 cars, and they was all nose to tail, and that was really good. And then we got into all the rain deal and changing tires. Nobody knew what tires, as far as spectators, what you had them rain tires or other kind of tires. And the way they was pitting and stuff, you'd come in leading the race and you go back out and you're running 20th or something. Yeah. So that's what happened at the end of the race. Some of them took some stayed on rain tires, and then some of them put on some slick tires. So if it had been a few more laps, the slick tires was really coming in.
Yeah, I used that word "if" again. And but when Richard, I watched a little bit of it. Just first time I had a chance, I watched a little bit of it this morning
on TV. Yeah,
replay. And the minute they said, "Gentlemen, start your engines," it started
raining.
And then they didn't know where it was hard enough to put slicks on or rain, and that's really
that messes up everybody's strategy. That messes up the whole race from the standpoint of do you or don't you, as far as tires are concerned. How quick is it going to dry up, or is it going to dry up at all? And so some people gamble and won, some people gambled and lost.
Yeah, and I guess during the race there might be some things that happen that might cause some paybacks later on down the road, and some grudges held. And but I mean, where we was at in the suite, and it was portable, and
I know. It started leaking. It rained,
and of course the food was good, so we had a big time.
But there again, you started off probably the 20 car was probably as good a car that was out there. The 5 car was good till he crashed. There was 3 or 4 of them that run up front all day that wasn't there at the end of the race. And, I hate to see races where the better cars don't wind up being up front.
And
I don't think it's fair, but there's circumstances for everybody. So that way it gives everybody a gambling chance, especially with the rains and stuff like what, and change strategies and all that. And like I said before, the strategy worked really good for a couple of them, and then a bunch of them that was leading the race was capable of really, with the fastest cars, wound up 15th or 20th. So that's not good.
Yeah, under those circumstances, but they got the race in, and then they give them a time that they're going to have to cut it off. That was good. I think we've run some races before when they say maybe we're going to have to cut it off in 10 laps or something. I don't think they ever give us a time.
We won one race back in the mid-'60s. They had a road course at Augusta, Georgia, and they was going to run a 500-mile road course. and once they got started and stuff, it was going to be a 7-8 hour race. So they finally come back and said, okay, at a certain time they're going to cut the race off, and that's the only time I know that we run to a time limit, not a lap limit, and so that was unique also.
We're still going to a different kind of racetrack this week. Of course, you're going to England. I'm going to Pocono, and I don't know where to call it, a 3-cornered track or a 6-cornered track, but it was always a good track for you, Richard, and I hope our team can get it together a little bit, and we don't have no rain or nothing, and we can...
Maybe they can run the whole race on the same kind of tires and same strategy. And there's a lot of strategy up there, too, because it's one of those kind of races that takes so long to get around the racetrack that you can just be running up front. You can make a pit stop and not lose a lap.
Yeah.
So that puts strategy right in play for a lot of people.
Yeah, but I'm sure the crew chiefs and engineers are working on it now, because they got all the records probably back to day one, I guess, and see what was the best strategy and everything. But we'll try to be here. Well, you won't be here next week, will you?
I'm going to be gone somewhere.
Okay. So we'll make something work, and we'll be back on there, I hope.
Maybe I'll be back to be able to talk to you, okay?
I hope so. I hope you got some good stories.
They run enough confusion with trying to run with tail lights and brake lights and all this, windshield wipers. I don't think the headlights would help any. In fact, it would probably cause more glare and probably wouldn't be near enough to be able to run in the rain or run in the dark. No,
I'm like Richard. They got enough tricks on these cars right now, and the flashing lights when they're going away from you, that's more like a fire truck than it is a race car. But it all worked out.
I don't think we're ever going to see that. Me and Dale's not going to live long enough to see electric cars in NASCAR. They might be one of those kind of deals that we'll have electric cars and gas together in the same car, and maybe like on caution flags and stuff, they might use the electric motor to try to save gas. So there'll be some strategy on that.
I'm sure there's some thought on it, but I'm like Richard. We won't see it.
Man, that's been 40 years ago. I don't know. I think, the big deal there was the president was there, and we got to go up and talk to him a little bit, and then we all the crews and drivers and wives and crew members and stuff got to eat Kentucky Fried Chicken with the President of the United States on July the 4th. So I remember that part.
Yeah, I remember the Kentucky Fried Chicken, and I think Tammy Wynette was there and sung "Stand By Your Man," right. I got to show the president the race car, open the hood, and point out 2 or 3 things that I was smart enough to know what they were, and he didn't ask no questions, so all that was good.